Hello, my friends, and my future friends. I joined YouTube back in September of 2007. That's almost 20 years ago, which is crazy to think about and to just sit with. Most of that time I've spent watching, I've spent consuming or creating playlists and getting a lot of value. Amazing people that I've followed and got great advice, entertainment, creative ideas from. It's been invaluable. I'm pretty sure I still pay for YouTube Premium or Plus, whatever it's called. Hated the ads, but it's part of it. But I've used it. I've used it for a long time. And only a little bit of that has been of actually creating anything on the platform. I did a little bit in the beginning, earlier in my career when I was still focusing on music production and video production, but that kind of fell off as I continued to get into tech and other things in life and whatnot. I had a, complicated relationship with social media, being an elder millennial. People like myself have seen both the before and after internet. I would say even more viscerally the before and after social media. I was in college when Facebook came out in 2004. I think I joined it in 2005. I was in MySpace. I had all of that. And then, YouTube 2007. And it's an interesting perspective to look back over that entire time. I've often likened the internet and social media to a double-edged sword, which I know I'm not the only one who has said that, but I feel like it's an accurate description because it can cut both ways, and it depends on how you wield it and how you use it. And it also, I guess this time period of 20 years and being an elder millennial, it kind of cuts my life in half if you think about it. I've had childhood on one side and adulthood on the other. We're the generation, again, that's before and after the internet, and there's pros and cons to that. And I feel like the pros have been being able to see both sides, having a well-rounded perspective, knowing what things were before, the internet, what life was like before then. I think it's also part of the cons, though, because knowing both sides, it's easy to get anchored in the before and feel nostalgia for it or want to go back to it because of how fast things have changed today and how crazy things are nowadays, which is nothing new and plenty of people are talking about. But I think a part of that shaping in being, before, I did get, I think, anchored in how things used to be, and that shaped my perspective of this emergence and evolution of creating videos online or social media in general, like the complication stuff that I mentioned earlier. The complex relationship is weird because there was a time where I was like managing social media accounts for businesses or for teams or creative teams, and I was participating on their behalf, managing accounts, and knew some of the tricks and how to integrate it to different things. And back when like Buffer first came out and these platforms came around to manage social media, I was in that, but I never really quite was able to do it for myself. At least not to like, I think the level that was required. And I'm okay with that, but this perspective, I guess, of like looking back over the past 20 years, I'm starting to see the through line. And I think I noticed it earlier, but I've only kind of been able to put it into better words or perspective only more recently. And a part of that was that I think I filed all social media and this type of broadcasting under attention seeking, and just kind of bucketed in of like promotion. Hey, look at me, I'm doing this. follow me for more, subscribe and like, and all of that. Swipe up for more details. Comment to be DM'd a link to my course, all the stuff that everyone's familiar with. I've seen the full evolution of from the beginning until what it is now. And it always kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. And it's not that anyone was doing anything particularly wrong. I mean, granted, there's scammers and people that want to take advantage and selling you hopes and dreams and just trying to get attention for, those use cases or those means. But there's also people that have genuinely used it for good. And so part of my oversimplifying of attention seeking, I think, was also part of just my own personality and not wanting to promote myself, because I don't like self-promotion. I don't like talking about myself. I don't like sharing the things that I do and create to promote and get attention, because, well, there's several layers there, but piggybacking off what I just said about, being an elder millennial, part of the cons of being in that before part was the perspective and hopes and dreams of how things were supposed to unfold. Like, for example, if you build it, they will come. I've never really internalized that consciously, but there's always been a desire for my work to speak for itself, for my qualities, my things that I do or participate in, that they should just stand on their own. I shouldn't have to like market it, or I shouldn't have to like constantly promote. Part of that is to my upbringing. I'm coming from a small town, which that's a whole other video I can get into another time. But that anchoring and that perspective really kind of held me down, because I was always good at the starting part, the building part, even the finishing part. I still have a wake of projects behind me that are unfinished, but it wasn't so much the building or the creating, it was the putting myself out there, the blasting on social media, the interactions, and the self-promotion. And so in a way, another phrasing that I'm coming around of like describing this perspective for me is like I was almost like a social media wallflower. Like I was in the room, I was doing things. I know technically how it worked, but I wasn't like approaching anybody. And it's not 100% true, because I did reach out to people. I did make some dents here and there and gained like a very small following, but I never kept up with it. I never really created too many videos after a certain time. And it's usually just to promote something else, or to be a part of a project of something else, not so much like me. So I could operate the machinery and the things for other people, but I couldn't commit it as, myself. And it wasn't necessarily a conscious decision. It was indecision. It was uncertainty. It was fear, and not wanting to feel awkward or embarrassed, or the things that are very common is very common for me too. And so I was always half in and half out. And so the ultimate phrasing that I've started to use for this is calling myself a millennial nobody, because I've been here the whole time, but nobody knows me. And it's not a nobody in terms of value, but a nobody in terms of visibility. And I'm okay with that. It's not like I want to necessarily change that. I think it's more just vocalizing and processing, again, a 20-year time period of involvement or half involvement, and kind of coming to grips with it. Because, again, looking back at it, the deeper level of it is that I was wishing the world was different instead of accepting it as it was. Or I had an idealized version of what the world was, which again was, me being able to focus on my work and have it speak for itself and not talking about it. And I did try to, go out. I did try to reach out, I guess, or put myself more out there because compounding this was the fact that over the past 10 years, I've been working remotely. So like I said before, I was in music, video, multimedia production. From that led me into tech and software. And that's been a great blessing, you know what I mean, in many ways. And I'm not ungrateful for it. I actually very much am. It was a goal of mine to be able to work wherever, to be location independent from the thing that I do. And I've been able to achieve that. But there's a con that came with that, which is I didn't get the built-in networks. I didn't get the built-in FaceTime, in-person meetings, brushing up, against shoulders, like meeting new people, the serendipity, the luck surface, as I think Naval Ravikant or like other influencers or thought leaders have said, but it's accurate. I greatly reduced my luck surface or my serendipity ability. And so the thing that I've come to realize in looking at all this in terms of like creating videos per se like this is that I don't have to look at it as self-promotion or just attention seeking. It's a better, I guess, healthier, more mature perspective to see it as this is the way the world is right now. And ultimately what I'm doing, and I think what many people have been doing and doing well, is putting out bids for connection. It's not so much just let me build an audience so I could sell you a product or do whatever. It's like, well, actually, no, this is how we meet more people. This is how we get exposed. This is how we increase our luck surface or serendipity. And I didn't give that enough attention or permission to like really, I guess, understand the impacts of that and almost like the opportunity costs that I've had by not doing really much with my YouTube account that I've had since 2007. So yeah, this is kind of almost like a confessional in a way. As much as it is like a bid for connection, it's also just me processing in an exercise. So this video, you can't tell by now, is rough and not really scripted, just outlined, and me just kind of trying to process my thoughts. So I appreciate you listening, and hopefully it's given you some kind of value. But now that I kind of have that understanding, I kind of can't go back, and I don't want to. I don't want to make this like a full-time thing or put pressure on myself to, always come up with new topics. But what I do see this as now is a way for me to really speak about my experience and the things that I've learned, because I've learned a ton, especially over the past 6 or 7 years, some of the most pivotal things in my life. And I haven't had the chance to share that with everybody. But I also see it as, again, a bid for connection and also a way to help people. And who knows what will come of it. I know that I've really enjoyed listening to, especially older men, because I don't think we have enough clear-headed, grounded men speaking about real things. And so there's a number of people that have really been impactful for me to just listen to and hear them talk. And what I hope is that I could contribute to that a little bit in some way that at least helps somebody. And if it helps nobody, that's okay, because ultimately it's helping me too, to work through these things, to be real, and to stretch myself a little bit, increase my luck surface, and hopefully make some new and important connections that are meaningful. And yeah, that's all I got. I hope some of this has landed. If any of it does, please reach out. And that's how future friendships start. So until next time.